I shall now make a statement in my capacity as the representative of Algeria. We thank Mr. Volkan Turk and Dr. Rick Peppercorn for their valuable briefings. And we also extend our deep gratitude to Dr. Tanya Haj Hassan for her sobering briefing, which serves as a powerful testimony from a witness who was present in Gaza and observed firsthand the senseless destruction of health infrastructures and unprecedented atrocities inflicted upon the Palestinian people. The ongoing Israeli aggression against the Palestinian people, particularly in Gaza, has a clear and alarming objective: pushing the Palestinian population out of their lands through an obvious and deliberate policy of ethnic cleansing. One of the key pillars of this policy is the systematic destruction, the systematic demolition of the healthcare system. The United Nations Human Rights Office report, published on December 31st, on the eve of the new year, revealed devastating findings. 136 strikes targeted at least 27 hospitals and 12 other medical facilities, resulting in significant casualties and destructions. Figures speak volume. 53% of hospitals in Gaza are no longer operational. Out of 138 primarily health centers, only six remain fully functional. 130 ambulances have been damaged. Over 14,000 patients require urgent medical evacuation abroad, and more 1,000 healthcare workers have been killed, and hundreds of healthcare workers have been detained by the Israeli authorities. NGOs reported on cases of torture, on cases of ill treatment. According to the UN, several physicians have died in Israeli custody. These are but a few examples that starkly illustrate the systematic dismantling of Gaza's health infrastructure, targeting essential services and medical personnel through actions that amount to genocidal tactics. 1 week ago, on December 27, following over 3 months of siege and repeated attack near and around the area, the Israeli occupying forces finally invaded Kamal Adwan Hospital, the main facility in the north of Gaza. This hospital came under assault from snipers, tanks, and quadcopter drones, terrorizing patients and medical staff. These actions included torture, execution, the destruction of vital medical equipment, and the deliberate setting of fires that engulfed entire wards of the hospital. The Israeli occupying forces have actively sought to shut down Kamal Adwan Hospital, rendering it completely out of service. This raises legitimate and critical question about the real motives behind its demolition. However, what is indisputable is that the act was not driven by military necessity, but rather by a deliberate effort to deprive northern Gaza of essential health services, thereby forcing the displacement of its population. The deliberate destruction of healthcare facilities constitute a form of collective punishment, which under international law is classified as a war crime. Is classified as a war crime. Dear colleagues, international humanitarian law is clear regarding the protection of hospitals. Article 11 of Additional Protocol number 2 of Geneva Conventions stipulates, and I quote, "Medical units and transports shall be respected and protected at all times and shall not be the object of attacks." Resolution 2286 of this very Security Council, I quote again, demands that all parties to armed conflicts fully comply with their obligations under international law to ensure the respect and protection of all medical personnel and humanitarian personnel exclusively engaged in medical duties, their means of transport and equipment, as well as hospitals and other medical facilities. End of quote. To justify these heinous acts, the Israeli occupying authorities have resorted to unfounded allegation, claiming that hospitals were being used for military purposes by Palestinian armed groups. In the same UN Human Rights Report, however, it is stated clearly, and I quote, and I repeat what has been said by Mr. Turk, and sufficient information has so far been made available to substantiate these allegations, which have remained vague and broad, and in some cases appear contradicted by publicly available information. Yet, arguing based on international law, particularly international humanitarian law and Security Council resolution, feels increasingly futile. What we are witnessing in Gaza, it is a complete disregard for the rule of law. And Israel, as the occupying power of the occupied Palestinian territories, acts as though international law does not exist or simply does not apply to it. These barbaric actions are fueled by a sense of impunity, a sense of immunity. We must end this impunity. We must end this immunity. As Mr. Turk aptly stated, it is essential that there be independent, thorough, and transparent investigations into all these incidents, and fully accountability for all violation of international humanitarian and human rights law which have taken place in Gaza. Crimes are being committed in full view of the world, broadcast live and meticulously documented in an era where no act escapes the lens of global scrutiny. Today, ignorance is not a defense. Today, silence is complicity. And the evidence is undeniable. And the suffering of the Palestinians is irrefutable. It is incumbent upon everyone as human being to take a clear and principled stand. No one can claim ignorance of the blatant violation of international law that continue to unfold before our eyes. Dear colleagues, we cannot afford another year of misery, another year of massacres. Israel's actions are an attempt to extinguish hope in the heart and mind of the Palestinian people, and to deny them the means to survive on their own land. By destroying hospitals, beacons of hope, places of healing, and symbols of humanity, the Israeli occupying power aims to erode the resilience of the Palestinian people. We must act together to put an end to this tragedy. To delay action is to condone injustice. To remain passive is to abandon humanity. It is time for this Council to demand an immediate, unconditional, and permanent ceasefire in Gaza. I thank you.